Greetings, my fellow Southern thinkers. This is Elder's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Swampy Mangoes of South Florida. And today's date is Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. So let us begin. Thank you for tuning in, my friends. Hopefully everyone is doing well. And I'm at Stash, located at 109 Southwest 2nd Avenue in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, the Himmershey District to be exact, adjacent with Revolution Live and America's Backyard. Yeah, so another pre-summer morning to be exact, but that's how it is when you're living down here. The mangroves, the swampy mangroves, for sure. Not too much concrete, make it a lot more hotter. Oh yeah, I'm genuine. I'm an architect. I studied this for a long time, but I haven't lived in Florida, so I assume all the ground's still the same, and the climate and the temperature is like up north. Nothing against the northern folks, man. I love those areas as well. West Virginia too. So yeah, and just reading something from Broward, which I'm not too keen with it a few times, but I do observe responsibly. And, of course, you know, you got the folks like George Stephanopoulos about tougher gun laws and this and that. And the police chief said, hey, he did everything legally. And the fact is, that facility is a firearm-free zone according to Virginia law. So it's an isolated incident. And like I said before, crime is an issue over there as well. All you got to do is a little homework. Don't listen to bobbleheads, regardless of paradigm. Yeah, so we got some stuff, you know, Florida want to do prohibited laws. A lot of states do. However, like the latest one, the anti-Semitism law, and of course the BDS, red flag laws, asset forfeiture, asset seizure, which is part of that. The fact is this: Broward County has a resolution towards the USA Patriot Act, nullifies prohibited laws, whether it's federal or state. And this actual resolution just came out on May 6, 2003. So I'm going to read this. It's from the ACLU's page, but I've used this at the one of the Broward Commission's meeting in reference to the speech permit. So it is legit, my friends. I've done my homework. I had copies of this. And I try to find it. This is the other site. Just did their changes. But it says here, Broward County Resolution adopted by the Broward County Commission, affirming the civil rights of all residents of Broward County. Sometime in the future reference, they should use natural rights. But it's okay. It says here, whereas Broward County, Florida has a long and distinguished history of protecting and expanding the civil rights and civil liberties of its residents, and whereas the residents of Broward County wish to honor the memory of all those who died as a result of the September 11, 2001 attacks, and whereas Broward County has a diverse population including students, working people, non-citizens, whose contributions to the community are vital to its character and function, and whereas the United States Congress passed the Uniting, Strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism act, or acronym USA Patriot Act, and whereas the federal administration is moving to pass a second USA Patriot Act known as the Domestic Security Enhancement Act of 2003 that usurps more rights than the original USA Patriot Act, which would provide for the presumptive denationalization of American citizens who support the activities of any organization that the executive branch deemed as terrorist, and whereas the state of Florida has enacted the Emergency Health Powers Act in May 2002, which will allow for appointed health officials to declare health emergency for potential health emergency and force people to be vaccinated against their will, quarantined, and the state can confiscate anyone's personal property without due process of law. Interesting, see? Asset seizures, red flag laws, confiscating firearms. How come the Broward Sheriff's Office and Broward County Commissioners are contradicting that particular paragraph? I'll continue on here. whereas the Bill of Rights and of the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Florida guarantee those living in the United States the following rights: freedom of speech, assembly, and privacy, equality before the law and the presumption of innocence, access to counsel, and due process in judicial proceedings, and protection for unreasonable searches and seizures. And whereas we believe these civil liberties are precious, may be threatened by the USA Patriot Act, the Domestic Security Act, and the Florida's Emergency Health Powers Act, which reduces judicial supervision of telephone and internet surveillance, expands the government's ability to conduct secret searches without warrants, grants power to the Secretary of State to designate domestic groups as terrorist organizations, grant power to the Attorney General to subject non-citizens to indefinite detention and deportation if they have not committed a crime, grants the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, access to sensitive medical, mental health, financial, and educational records about individuals without having to show evidence of a crime, and grants the FBI the power to compel libraries and bookstores to produce circulation or purchase records of their patrons, and forbids disclosure of that such records have been requested and produced, and grants the federal government the ability to determine persons are terrorists or provide material support to a terrorist group could be expurgated from the United States and subject to indefinite detention without access and legal process, and grants appointed state health inspectors the power to force people to be vaccinated against their will, quarantine people based on potential health emergency, and the unconstitutional ability to confiscate people's property without due process of law. And whereas Broward County has remained committed to the protection of civil rights and liberties for all citizens of Broward County, and the Broward County, whereas the Broward County Commissioners believe that a threat to anyone's person's constitutional rights is a threat to the rights of all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Broward County Commission affirms rights of all people, including United States citizens and citizens of other nations within the county, in accordance with the Bill of Rights, the 14th Amendment, and the U.S. Constitution, and that the Broward County Commission calls upon all city officials and employees to respect the civil rights and liberties of all members of this community, including those who are citizens of other nations, and that the Broward County Commission calls upon all private citizens, including residents, employers, educators, and business owners, to demonstrate similar respect for civil rights and civil liberties, and that the Broward County Commission calls upon the United States Attorney's Office, the Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and local law enforcement authorities to publicly disclose the names of any federal detainees suspected of terrorism held in Broward County, and that the Broward County Commission supports the rights of county officials and employees to conduct their duties pursuant to the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida, and further supports actions taken in opposition to unconstitutional directives and orders that violates the rights of people in Broward County, and that the Broward County Commission affirms its strong opposition to terrorism, but also affirms that any efforts to end terrorism should not wage at the expense of essential civil rights and liberties of the people of Broward County and the United States, and that the county administrator is directed to provide copies of this resolution to the county's U.S. congressional representatives, the United States Attorney General, and the President of the United States, and the Broward County Commission calls upon our United States congressional representatives and senators to monitor the implementation of the USA Patriot Act, the Domestic Security Enhancement Act of 2003, and Florida's Emergency Health Powers Act, and executive orders issued pursuant to the Act. This resolution shall take effect immediately, duly adopted in a regular session the 6th day of May 2003. Broward Board of Counties Commissioners of Broward County, Florida, by Diana Wasserman Rubin, who was the mayor at the time. The fact is this: it was voted unanimously. All these laws on the state and federal level, which is unconstitutional is nullified in Broward County. Period. No ends, ifs, or buts. That includes BDS, anti-BDS laws, which was passed in Florida. Red flag laws. That has to be honored, nullified in Broward County. Many other laws which are considered prohibited under Article 1, Section 10 of our Florida Constitution. Of course, they talk about the Bill of Rights as well, which I respect dearly. And of course, Article 1, Declaration of Rights, under the Florida Constitution. The commissioners in Broward County, the sheriff, and everyone else who are employers, employees, anyone that presides in this county, all have obligations. If you compromise one, this resolution will be poorly implemented. It's got to be fully enforced, no exceptions. You can even tell Chip LaMarca and Gary Farmer I support the anti-Semitism bill. It's null and void in Broward County. Yes, I can say that. Those are the facts, my friends. It's interesting what it says here, prohibited laws. No bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts shall be passed. So, certain laws I've addressed aforementioned, it's repugnant to both our constitutions. Use our state constitution. It's void, negated, invalid, in the dumpster. It goes, it's shred into oblivion. I'm just wondering, these bobbleheads in Florida can prove me wrong, or prove the commissioners wrong. Because the truth of the matter is, my friends, the constitutions are the supreme law of the land. Florida Constitution, supreme of the Sunshine State. That's right. No such thing. No exceptions. So, how do you feel about that, Governor DeSantis and the cabinet members, Ricky Fried and Nikki Fried, and everyone else that went to Israel to sign this bill into law on foreign soil? It's unacceptable. I'm about to send this to them to see how they react. I want them to defend their actions because it's null and void. And don't worry, I corresponded with some of the clowns in there, including DeSantis. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to, it's not out of condemnation or malice or anything like that, but principle. So, all you folks in Tallahassee that support these illegal bills, I use it as toilet paper. Period. Call me a terrorist. Call me a criminal. Hopefully the victims will testify on your behalf. Because there's no victim housed at a crime. I can speak freely, whatever I want, as long as I don't egregiously violate others or violate others in an egregious manner. Just to recorrect that. And that's all I have to say. You know, I'm doing this short and sweet. What I'm going to do, too, my friends, that there is Asta Shakur. There's a list of communities that have passed resolutions opposing the Patriot Act. And there's like 389 communities in 43 states, including 7 statewide resolutions. It's a big list. Bristol, Rhode Island. It's from 2005 to 2003. But I'll give St. Petersburg, Tampa, Pasadena, Nevada City, California, El Paso. Yeah, a good amount of states have Washington, D.C. as well. And New York, of all places. Yeah, folks. Implement it. Exercise it. It's right in your hands. Prima facie, just cause. Because they got the guns, you got to belly up. Don't even go there. So that's how I see it. But you can read it yourselves. Even Vermont did one as well. So that's the way to counter it, my friends. Anything that's considered unconstitutional in your state, or that's been addressed from Washington, D.C., these resolutions say null and void. And James Madison, Thomas Jefferson believed nullification is a natural right, natural remedy. All you got to do is look up the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions of 1798. Very inspiring. Educate yourselves and share this with others. It's self-explanatory. So pay homage to those commissioners and the activists that made this happen. Thank them. I do. Action speaks louder than words. Complaining and saying nothing you can do means you won't do a damn thing. Because even in Article 1, Section 1 of our Florida Constitution, for an example, explains all political power is inherited into the people. The enunciation herein of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or impair others retained by the people. And you got basic rights too, under Articles or Section 2 of the same article. Okay? Pertain that you have inalienable rights, among which are the right to enjoy and defend life and liberty, to pursue happiness. Now go on. So I'll put that list up. I'll put the Florida Constitution up, Article 1. And that is really it. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, and we send something that's interesting and want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondences with decorum. Furthermore, I shall leave all my footnotes, plus social media sites and email addresses within my Spreaker page. All right. So, enough of that. Now I'm going to play a song from a band, I believe they're from South Florida, Miami, called Gears. And it was pretty cool because they actually first heard of them when they actually started following me on Instagram. Yeah, I do have an Instagram account. Just put in Looky Look at number 3. You see my face with the beard and the shades. It says, "You figure it out." I just post like cool little downloads. I haven't did some photos of bands and so forth, and sometimes I do a brief things of my geopolitical intakes. I put that in there as well, and life in general. So I like to say I'm not trying to go one way. Yes, there's a crazy world out there, very treacherous, but doesn't mean we can't be vigilant and enjoy life at the same time. So, pretty cool about that. This is a song called Tango, Yankee, and it was featuring Lajon Witherspoon. Now he uses Witherspoon, a vocalist from SEVENDUST, a loud rock band from Atlanta. And I know Gears is influenced by them in good faith. I'm not saying they're ripping them off, but they got those influences from them. And maybe other hard rocking bands as well. Loud, hard, driving. And it's cool because it pays homage to the folks in the military, the police and firefighters, trying to protect lives the best they can. And don't get me wrong. I always say about I'm critical when it comes to illegal wars and tyranny and corruption as a whole. But it's always been on principle. I don't attack them on a collective basis. When the politicians want to put us to the war, I say throw their rear ends on the front line, leave our brothers and sisters alone. I always say this, bring all of our troops home. Support a republic, not an empire. But those who served, thank you. And there's other times I'm critical of those rogue individuals, like everyone else. And the songs and Living Free is essentially, like, that's why the band thanks them for that. But we can do that ourselves as well. Add the liberty, the torch of liberty in our hearts, and share that with others. I never was offended by the song. I thought it was a good tune, and hopefully, folks, you check it out. All right. Now I'll leave a YouTube link on there as well, and you can contact them and all that. Okay. Once again, thank you for your time, but always remember that the maniac resistance is something for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.
Military and police. This is for the family and the willing.